Alright, so let's start this topic. So today I'm going to talk to you about why Tesla has margins as good as Apple. And it's going to surprise you. Alright, so there's a big topic when it comes to technology that we don't associate it with luxury. Like before iPhones were around, we didn't associate phones as being in a luxury category, and to some extent we still don't, because we still look at phones as in specifications. We still look at does this phone have certain pixels for the camera, does it have certain as amount of RAM, or what's the chips inside it like, and then we all compare it like that, and like say like processors and all that, but we don't stop and think, hey, actually, is this a luxury? And when we have to define a luxury, we're defining that firstly you like the design, you like the name, and that's usually starting to finish off where a luxury is. Because like if you think about why you might buy clothes, you usually like the design and you like the name that made it, and that usually sells at a premium. And like we don't normally see that often with other products. So you have a luxury product when the name itself already has a bit more of a premium than everyone else. And that's the thing, Apple for a while, and even still now, they still have a premium. So they have so firstly you pay quite a bit more for the design, and the name Apple, and also you're also paying a bit more for the operating system too, which in terms of operating system we could say Android is very comparable, but the one thing a lot of people will tell me is that Apple is just so much easier to use. It's so much simpler, and the system's just so well integrated with every other device. So that's why a lot of people just love Apple, even though the phone might not have the same specifications as other products. People will pay a premium because of that luxury feel. But don't get me wrong, before we got to this present day and age where everyone was producing outrageously good smartphones for good prices, we're looking into a time where Apple used to be the leading innovator in this industry. So that's the thing, when the iPhone came out, no one else had the iPhone, no one else had smartphones. Apple was ahead of the curve, and it stayed ahead of the curve for a good probably 6 or 7 years. But it's starting to diminish because everyone else is competing. There's good margins in it, and the one thing you still have to look at is, even though Apple's no longer the leader in smartphones, it's still the leader when it comes to profits for smartphones, because their margins are still so good, because they can charge that premium, and basically for them they don't have to be the leader, they just have to be able to capture that whole luxury feel for the product. And that's the thing, people will still have that feel for the product, and that's why it brings me to Tesla. Tesla is literally at the cusp when iPhone was being introduced to the market. Tesla is being introduced to the market, and people are just starting to get to grips with the product. And mind you, both products were quite expensive when they came out, and that's the thing, Apple products continue to be very expensive, and Tesla products are also very expensive. But for Teslas, and more specifically, because you're paying for a huge jump in innovation compared to any other product that you can get on the market. And that's the thing, you're paying comparable prices to other luxury products, but you get an actual leap in innovation. You buy a car, and how many cars can actually drive themselves right now? The thing is, in terms of actual cars that are selling commercially today, none. Only Tesla can. So when you look at that, you have to consider Tesla, firstly, they have an innovative advantage, and you're buying a product designed and made by Tesla. So, and that's the thing, Tesla has this luxury feel now. Like, the name has all this goodwill. If I go to my friends and go, I have a Tesla, you know, everyone's gonna go, wow, you have a Tesla. But if I go, oh, I have a Hyundai, or I have a, you know, like a Nissan Leaf, you know, like no one's gonna be like surprised. And that's the thing, like in the past when people said, oh, I have an iPhone, people just like look at you and be like, oh wow, you've got an iPhone, wow. And these days it's like they're not really, you know, it's not the same surprise. But these days you know you've got a quite a well, you know, defined premium product when people look at it twice, you know. Like, it's kind of like saying, you know, like it's not up there with Ferrari in terms of luxury. Like Ferrari, it still has that like top pace where it goes, you know, like in terms of luxury products. If someone says, I have a Ferrari, well, people will be like gasping. They're like, what, you have a Ferrari? But the thing is, that's the thing, you know, like, do you have a luxury product? And you can tell by people's reactions, like, and you can basically engage it with a lot of people who, you know, just everyday people. Most people have heard of Teslas, and the one thing they know is it's a very expensive car, and when you dive deeper, it's also a very advanced, innovative car. So it's ahead of the curve, and that's the thing. Like, but I want to address the whole thing about margins though. Like the reason you know get really good margins is because firstly you're making a luxury product, and secondly you're making an innovative product that's ahead of the curve. Like, Tesla is a premium name, and Tesla is an electric car, which even that is advanced. But for Tesla, that's just a base. Like, the fact that they have one of the longest ranges for their batteries, like no other car company can even keep up. And also they've got autopilot, and then soon to be full self-driving features. And that's where the brilliant margins are. Like, if this was just a car company with no labeling, like, Tesla earns, while they will earn massive margins through their battery technology. Like, their battery prices are coming down significantly, and you know, good on them, because they're leading the way and bring that cost down. And the minute you can bring that cost down, and you can charge a lot less, but also you can make a lot more margins, because, you know, like, as long as you're not passing 100% of the savings through, like, you can still sell a cheaper car but still make really good margins. And also you have to consider like autopilot and the full self-driving features. Like, those aren't cheap features. Like, they're at least for a few thousand to several thousand each. Like, autopilot's about 2,000 or 3,000. Full self-driving features is probably about 5,000 or 6,000. So in that sense, like, you think about that. And Apple also sells the operating system for the premium, and Tesla basically sells you the same, a very similar type of software. They sell you the autopilot and its full self-driving features. And I don't have to tell you how well, you know, technology scales, because most people will understand that if you copy and paste basically software, there's not really any other added cost. Like, you can just sell more systems and basically just earn extra margins on top of that. So Tesla succeeds when it reaches mass scale. Right now it's just doing enough to keep above water, and the same thing with Apple. Like, they, for a long time, they kept above water, but once, you know, the iPhone really caught on, like, they were selling like hotcakes, and they became a super profitable company. And it's the same thing with Tesla. Once they get to that mass margin, like a critical mass kind of situation, which I think they will once they get their Shanghai factory running, because they'll be able to offer Teslas at much cheaper prices, and they can actually sell on demand. Like right now, I think a lot of cases is like people don't really order a Tesla because they don't want to wait a couple of months, which is a lot better than a couple of years if you look at the other cars that came out. So yeah, if you consider that, Tesla has margins as good as Apple, but they have to really scale, and they haven't even really scaled yet. So like, as an investor, you would stand to benefit the minute they can reach that mass scale. And you know, when those margins really come in, you know, you can see Tesla being just as profitable as Apple. And then one day maybe we might just look around and we feel like, oh, is everyone driving a Tesla? Like, you look around and you go, like these days not as much, but you know, it used to be probably every 1 in 3 people you look around and they'd be using an iPhone, and that was the symbol of a grand product. And the same thing with Tesla. So that's why I think Tesla's going to do really well, because it has really good margins in terms of its name, the battery technology, and the software that they sell in the car in terms of autopilot and self-driving. So if you think about that, and you know, you can see where the logic is, why Apple and Tesla, you know, they belong in that same category of, you know, hardware products with extremely good margins everywhere. Let me know if you agree or don't agree, and yeah, like if you think I did a good job, like below, and all everything else. Until next time, good luck investing.